You're listening to Two Guys Talking Wine with Michael Pincus and Andre Prue.
Good morning, Michael.
Andre, how the heck are you?
I'm good.
I'm just pouring some wine this morning.
You know, I think people can tell from the sound of our voice we're not in the Hamilton studio or the Niagara studio.
Nor any studio, really. We're actually in a glassed-in fishbowl.
We are in a glassed-in fishbowl.
Correct. We're at Bovine Wine Club.
Which is different than the Bovine Sex Club.
Is there one?
There's a Bovine Sex Club in Toronto.
That's not good, because bovines are cows, is it not?
Yeah, it's a famous venue and bar. Like, you've never heard of the Bovine Sex Club?
I'm kind of glad suddenly I have not.
Oh, you got to Google it.
Okay, well,
there's no cows and there's no sex at the Bovine Sex Club.
Okay. No.
Interesting.
No, exactly.
That voice that we've heard, we were joined by a guest, and you are...
So, hi everyone, I'm Serena.
Serena?
Buenaventura.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm coming from Italy. Actually, I'm from Venice. And I just arrived yesterday in Toronto. And
So we are the first to speak to her.
Exactly.
Wow. You're looking very, fresh and bright for having just got off a plane. So thank you for taking the time to meet with us.
No, thank you. Actually, Sunday morning.
It is Sunday morning.
It is Sunday morning.
We don't get out of bed for just anyone. You lined this up, so Michael, you set this up.
Well, yes, I was in the spring. I met Serena and tasted some Bertani wines, and I was. Look, many years ago, I was in Veneto, and I had tasted Bertani. I had been to the winery. I had tasted old wines. I struck up a conversation with Serena, showed her some of the pictures that I had. Surprisingly, still on the phone, so that's good news. And I showed her some of the old wines I had, blah, blah, blah. And then we started talking about Valpolicella, which is, the wine of Veneto. And a lot of people think Veneto is, the same old, same old. And we struck up a conversation and found out things are really changing with Valpolicella and the region. And so I thought it'd be great to have Serena on to talk about what is happening.
Before we talk about the changes, like we've said many times on the podcast, Italy's a weak point in my knowledge. And when I think of Valpolicella, I think of Amarone, and that's because you and I do the Toronto Life gift guide, and inevitably we get one or two Amarones. I know I enjoy that style of wine, and also we're familiar with it because of the abomination that is a Passamento in Ontario. But before we get started into what's changing, why don't you said same old, let's get a bit of background on
Well,
the
let's
region.
get some background about
Bertani.
And you know what, about Valpolicella. So,
yeah, of course.
Because a lot of people, I teach some wine classes, and a lot of people think Valpolicella is the grape. So maybe we should almost do like a Valpolicella 101 to start with.
Let's do it.
So yeah, actually, the area of Valpolicella, we are of course close to Verona, to the city of Romeo and Juliet, just to make it easier for everyone to understand. So we're in the north part of Verona. Actually, the area is divided by different areas. So we have the Valpolicella Classica. Then we have actually the Valpolicella Valpantena. And then we have just close by the area of Soave, where actually we produce our Soave Classico Cereole that we're going to go through today. What I will say about Bertani, what can I say? It's just like history. It's one of the most historical winery of the area of Valpolicella, born in the 1857, producing Amarone Classico from 1958, the very first bottle. But we're just historical, but elegant, delicate, fine, different, contemporary. So everyone all together. So we have 160 years of history, but in the same time, what we're going to have today in the glass just explain the fact that we are also contemporary.
It's interesting when you can call yourself classic and contemporary at the same time.
So she did mention Soave, and since we're going to talk about, Valpolicella for the most part, I don't mean to say it this way, because I know, Andre, this is going to sound really kind of dismissive, but I think we should just get Soave out of the way. It's 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning. It's perfect Soave weather outside, or it will be. It'll be 24 degrees by the time, the afternoon rolls around. And Soave is that perfect, wine for a hot day. Explain to us what Soave is, because yet again, people think Soave is the grape variety. And
so Soave actually is Garganica, the grape variety name. So actually we produce 100% Garganica which is our Soave. Actually, also the word Soave meaning, it's very interesting. So Soave is actually a nice person, somebody nice. So it's also a very interesting name. So we change it from Garganega, very difficult to pronounce, to Soave.
So Rico Suave, Rico very nice. That's what it means. I had never known that.
And Rico means rich.
Does it? Does it?
Yes.
Ricco means rich in
Rich.
Italian,
So-
yeah.
So that means
Rich.
you're rich and suave. You didn't know that about that song?
Rich, very nice. I didn't know suave meant very nice.
Well, it means suave.
I know what suave meant, but
What can you tell me about this suave? I guess first off, on the initial taste, like this is a great wine to wake up to. A lot of mineral.
Oh yeah, a lot of minerals, easy drinking whites. So the area, of course, of Soave Classico, we are in the Soave Classic area, meaning we actually pick our grapes in a more little area. Soave is the larger area. So basically, you are drinking our Cereole, which is the name of the crew, where we pick up the grapes to produce the Soave. This Soave is, we only do hand picking, so that we made a very strong selection. Territory is quite flat, but it's a very easy drinking wine. Actually, you can find it today at the LCBO.
Oh, perfect.
So if you want to grab it a bottle and have it like today with some, I don't know, like some starters, some soups, some white meat, quite easy to get on through.
so I've just noticed it came through vintages. Did it come through recently or
This
is
is
it?
April 26th.
Yeah,
Okay.
April 2020. Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
Aging, very easy. So French oak for 4 to 5 months. We want it to be fresh. So easy to drink, easy to pair, easy to enjoy it.
I wouldn't have guessed.
We don't want to be
oak on this.
complicated.
No, I don't. There's a great mouthfeel. That
Yep.
minerality comes through completely.
It really feels like fall, though. Like it tastes like pears and a little bit of like golden delicious apple. Really great acid to it.
Yeah, a little bit like straw yellow color.
I do like that saltiness to it as well.
Yeah.
So
Slightly mineral, as we were saying before.
and Suave gets overlooked on the shelves all the time.
Well, I mean, it's a thing about Suave. I think you and I have talked about this before. It is hit and miss because sometimes Suave can be very boring. This is not very boring. I'm happy I can say that.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate that.
at $20, definitely.
You better not be boring. Put it that way, because you can get an $11 Suave that's very boring. Well, this one, it's livened my mouth up, which is great. And my mouth needs a little livening up, so I feel a little tired.
Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, as you were saying, I think it's time to get some knowledge on Valpolicella. You guys need to teach me.
All right. So first of all, what do you know about Valpolicella? Because what you know, being a relative neophyte, like what do you know about Valpolicella?
Like I said, I'm familiar with the Amarone style, the Appassimento, that grapes are dried. They're dried in the air, right? They're dried in the
Correct.
sun.
And
They're not.
And you're talking about Amarone, which is that's the high end of Valpolicella. You're talking about the tippy top of what they make in Valpolicella.
I know of Ripasso as well,
Ripasso, yeah, they use the Amarone.
and that's pretty much it.
So I would say from obviously a writer's point of view, Valpolicella is the pizza pasta everyday drinking wine.
Yeah.
This is the one that you're pulling out Monday through Friday. Maybe the Ripasso on a Saturday or a Friday night, and the Amarone on the Sunday. Let's go with that. But Valpolicella is like the everyday wine.
Yeah. It's actually how we grew up in the area. So everyone will have like a glass of Valpo during their lunch or maybe for dinner. It's your daily wine. But, if you drink a daily wine, you have to make sure that the quality is good. So the fact is that if you are a great producer of Amarone Classico, that means you're a great producer of Valpolicella. We never have to think that Valpolicella is like an entry wine or cheap. This is completely wrong ideas. Actually, Valpolicella is a great wine. It all depends from the terroir, of course, right? So here we're going to have today 2 different kind of Valpolicella, because also that is what is going on in our area. So the Valpolicella, as I was saying before, we have the Valpolicella Classica area where we produce our Cru Miniere. And then we have our Valpolicella Valpantena area where we produce our Valpolicella Valpantena. So today you're going to taste 2 different completely profile of wine.
So this is I have tried this previously. I tried this back in the spring, and I believe it was the exact same vintage, was it not?
Correct.
Correct. Okay.
2023.
So I find this has opened up even more, which just shows that, we always say that we drink our wines too young. I really do believe that we also
We are impatient.
yes, there's a lot of impatience, especially for Valpolicella, because it is a very easy, simple. You could chill this wine down, like a Gamay almost, right?
I mean, you saying Gamay, I have the tech sheet in front of me. I don't have the bottle in front of me. And one thing I'm immediately surprised with is alcohol at 12.2%.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is when you and I are tasting our Amarone for Toronto Life, the alcohol can get to 15, 16, 16.5%. So to see that this is a light wine is a bit of a surprise. Yeah. It's very floral, like it's very, very violet on the nose and on the palate. And I know you're going to be saying what's become your catchphrase on this, the acidity.
Correct. Acidity is, I don't know why you love making fun of me about that, because without acidity, there's no wine. Like, if it's grape juice, it's Welch's. Like, that's not, so acidity is very, it is, and the older I get, I find the acidity becomes more and more important to me.
And I've noticed that with you as well.
And as a foodie, I would think that you would be all over the acidity.
Oh, totally. But the thing is, I'm still a little bit forgiving. I'll take a warm climate wine with low acid and enjoy it. But the problem with wines like that is you can't do them with food.
Correct. And you can't do them, you can't theoretically drink the whole bottle.
But this, you can drink even 2 bottles.
Correct. Like this.
By yourself. Easy.
Like there's low alcohol. Like, on the other hand, like, take a look. Like, people can't see, but you can, it's
really
kind of like very Pinot Noir. It's very light in color. You can see your finger right through it. This is not a heavy wine in any way, shape, or form.
This is the Bertani style. Again, we will look for, we actually have almost, people say transparent wines. And when I'm going to pour it miniere, then you're going to be like amazed, like shocked. So that is actually the soil. And again, we didn't see before which are the grape varieties. So for our Valpolicella Valpantena, we use 80% Corvina Veronese and 20% Rondinella. That's our style. So, other producers will do their style, but that's our style. And then you don't really see it because you cannot see, but the bottle is actually, the label is quite like, the color is a little bit like light blue. So actually that colors can take you to the fact that we only use cement for aging. So that is another fact. So we use cement still the very beginning. So we use a lot of combinations in our winery, from cement to wood, French wood, Slavonian oak, a lot. We like to play. But since we wanted to have the Valpolicella as a simple, easy drinking wine, but with structure and high acidity, as we were saying before, that's what it is. That is our Valpolicella. And you can pair it with a lot of food. I mean, you can have it like a flavored pasta. Maybe you can have rice dishes, or maybe you can go with meat, or maybe you can go even with grilled red meat. It's so easy, and you can pair it with a lot of food.
Maybe, I guess just the question is, like, what would be the regional, like a regional specialty from Valpolicella that you would pair? Yeah.
Oh, risotto for sure.
I was going to say,
you're going to have like a pasta, or then with, you can have like cold cats, or the cheeses, maybe like a Monte Veronese, very typical from that area.
Like, every time you visit, like I visited Veneto, I think 3 or 4 years in a row, and then they would take us to wineries, and they would serve lunch, and then there would obviously be a dinner. At like every single one of those dinners and lunches, there was a risotto, and mostly with Amarone in the rice.
In the rice,
yeah,
interesting.
So it made it very red. It's tasty. It feels like you're wasting the wine a little.
Oh, come on, Michael.
I hate to say it that way, because there's a fair bit that goes in there, because it is a delicious wine. But they do use it for the flavoring of the rice.
And has concrete, I guess just to clarify, so concrete has always been a part of the stuff.
It's always been part of our way of winemaking till the beginning. And actually, you know why? Because that is very cheap. I have to say that and to admit it. Even my ancestors, everyone that was making wine, they had cement.
You know where else you see a lot of cement for light red wines is in Beaujolais.
Correct.
Yeah.
Freshness.
Yeah, and actually, cement concrete is coming back into fashion.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
and
just
that's why I
that
had to
people
ask-
say like, "Oh, we're so new because we use concrete." I always say, "No, guys,
No.
this is very ancient."
And it's cool. It's cool when you go to like an old winery and you see the old concrete vats. And
This is
all
what
that's-
we have,
and,
yeah.
And then all you see is the updated hardware, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can refurbish the vats with modern hardware, so it hooks up to the pumps and hoses and everything. But you see the age of the concrete, and so it's very cool.
I always have people ask me about the inside of the cement. They want to know if it's coated with an epoxy or if it's just regular. So, what is inside the cement normally, and what is inside the cement at
We're
Bertani?
actually renovating them.
Okay.
We're renovating them, but we put like a raisin inside.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
That's right.
That's the way we do.
Okay.
So we renovate a lot.
Good. And how many of these concrete tanks do you have comparatively to say barrels? Like, do you know this?
We have a huge amount of cement because, the way that they were doing the wineries is about layers. So basically you have the first floor, then you go down, and then you have another floor, and then you go down deeper, and there's another floor. So all the floors are filled with cement. Rather, you have wood, different kind of wood. But I think counting, we have more wood.
More wood. Okay. Got it.
A huge amount of Slavonian oak.
So how much wine is Bertani making these days?
Overall, with all our
overall,
SKU?
And then let's
Around
go
1.5 million bottles
1.5.
for everything.
And then is it as I think it should be, and I could be, hopefully I'm not wrong. It should be Valpolicella the most, Ripasso somewhere in the
Correct.
middle, and then Amarone should
Yeah.
be.
You're right. Yeah,
Okay.
that's where it is. I mean, even if we go at our Creminiere Valpolicella, we produce only 13,000 bottles per year.
Okay.
So it's very niche.
So and that's where we're leading today, is that Valpolicella is changing, and
Definitely.
that's we were starting to talk about that before the microphones went on, and then we had to stop you because we lose a lot of great content over the table when we pre-talk. So, like, what is the future of Valpolicella? Should we get into that now, or do we need anything in more
I think
about
we got
Valpolicella?
a bit of history down there.
Okay. So, like, what is the future of Valpolicella as you see it, as Bertani sees it? Because, as you said, it's an old wine, but as with everything these days, it has to change its face. For a younger generation, it also has to change its face.
Well, and
for-
it's following drinking habits, right? Like if younger people are
Also drinking
lighter,
habits.
Yep.
Yep.
or people are drinking lighter wines, lower alcohol wines. I mean, is Amarone in trouble?
For us, no. But I think it's because we produce such a high quality and very well brand that we never have problems with the Amarone. So people still drinking it. And our Amarone, it's not a heavy, strong, difficult to drink. Like you want to have a glass and then no, it's the opposite. It's elegant, delicate. We do very, very long aging. So 10 years before we release. So it's one of the longest of the area.
Okay, well then let's talk about the regular Valpolicella.
So-
and,
Yeah,
and what the,
exactly.
and what the
future
future's
of
looking like.
Valpolicella. What
So
do
the
you-
future of Valpolicella, from our point of view, is that actually we started already thinking it before COVID. So we have decided to launch in 2019 two crus, which are Miniere and Ognissanti. So today we're actually tasting Miniere, which in Italian language means mines. So we own a property, which is Tenuta Novere. So it's Tenuta Novere Estates, which is this 200 hectares, of which 65 of vineyards. And it's like an amazing spot full of nature, bush, vineyard, sun. And there's even a church there. So whether you are coming to Italy, I really invite you to come and visit us and have a tasting also there in the middle of the vineyard, because it's amazing. And it's open to public. People
that
walking
way
here.
they can pray for the grapes.
Exactly. Yeah, you're true. And we are in the area of Arbizzano di Negrar. And the cru that we're tasting today is actually called Miniere, as I was saying before. So it's composed of 70% Corvina Veronese, our own Massal selection, 20% Corvinone, and 10% Rondinella. We actually produce a very little amount of bottles, less than 20,000 bottles per year. Actually, on the back label, you will find in all the numbers of bottles that we produce and the bottle that you're drinking, just to make sure that you know what is in your glass, which is very important today for us. And I come back to the fact that Valpolicella is changing because of that. Can you imagine a daily wine that is being with numbers at the back label, and that you're counting the bottles that you're selling, and that you're looking where you sell it and the people who drinks it? So it completely changed the way of thinking about the Valpolicella as a premium wine.
Also selling the experience, which is really important to younger drinkers.
Exactly. But also the area, it's very important to know. So we have the soil there is Eocene limestone with late Cretaceous scalia, rosa rock, red rock. So you get a very red rock there that gives a lot of minerality to the wine. And then you have reddish clay. So you can imagine this kind of combination, what kind of aftertaste will give to the wine. A lot of complexity.
So why did Valpolicella or Bertani in particular, because I can't speak for the entire region, why did they decide, to go for cru?
The reason is very simple. People were thinking that Valpolicella was a cheap wine and it was not deserved. So we say, no, okay, we are a great producer of Amarone. We're going to show to all the world that we are also a great producer of Valpolicella. So we decided to do the cru. And that's how we actually started this kind of movement, the cruise. So we launched actually these two wines in 2019, and we were the first ones. So we believe it. We believe that Valpolicella can be a very good quality wine, and that people has to understand that. They have to go away from the fact that they think, oh, Valpolicella is a base wine, so it cannot be in quality. No, actually it's the opposite. And we're explaining this with this wine.
So when you're talking about cru, are you talking about the same way that, say, Burgundy is looking at
Correct. Cru? Yes. So we pick up the grapes by hand, only in that specific area, all around the mines, because they were really mining there. So there's a lot of iron there. So we have only that specific plot where we pick up the grapes and we produce the wine.
So are you ranking your crus then similar to Burgundy, or is it more just the names of the locations? Because
the names of the location for us.
I think that's brilliant. I mean, that's something you and I have talked about. This it's something similar to what's happening in Ontario as well. Is I would argue that the better producers, notably of Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, are really starting to focus on the sites where they come from. And if you say Grimsby Hillside or Wismar Foxcroft to people who really know the region, it means something. So just so I can get a better understanding, Le Minière, is that the cru?
Correct.
Are there other producers that work with Le Minière?
No, it's only us. So you can only buy our cru in our winery because nobody else has the place, nobody else has the grape, nobody has that, because we even invented our own Massal selection for Corvina Veronese.
So are there other wineries in the region who are following suit, who are also using the cru system?
There are.
Excellent.
So I'm noticing through my travels through Italy, which I've been becoming more and more extensive, that the cru system throughout Italy is I don't want to say it's a trend, but maybe it is.
It is a trend.
It is a trend. But a trend always seems like it's going to stop, right? Like,
Well, trends rise and fall, and then the core part, like the best parts of the trend, stick, right?
I would hope, and I would think this would, because I did some time in Nizza, and they're trying to get drill down into cru. Tuscany is doing the same thing. Piedmont has always done cru, and I think that is the probably we talk about Burgundy because that's just our a focal point, but for I think Italy to look at Piedmont and how they break their cru down is different. And also, interestingly, because we have this conversation in the car on the way in, and I'm pulling an Andre here where I just can't seem to stop talking.
No, hit you're doing great, Michael. Keep going.
But in Piedmont, there are places like Rocca dell'Annunziata, where like 50 people or whatever, 25 people
divide
this spot. Is that something that will also happen in Valpolicella? Maybe?
Maybe yes. Maybe yes, why not? People are starting to do a lot of wineries because they understand that they have to divide their base Valpolicella and then produce something that is more high-end quality wines because the consumers is requesting it. It comes from the consumer. The consumer is requesting more high quality. The young generation wants to drink less but better. So that is the concept, and that is where we have to go.
And is it something that now you can't speak for the whole country?
No.
You can speak for Bertani, or we can talk in generalization. Is this something that it's the younger generation, but is it also the Italian younger generation, or
Yes.
is it outside of Italy that you're seeing?
Ooh, good
this?
question.
Yeah, it's the Italian generation.
So
Even my friends, okay? I am a wine drinker, so I'm not a target consumer, right? Because I do that. But my friends, whatever I bring them a bottle of Le Miniere, they just keep on repeating me, can I have that wine? High quality, they understand it and they look for this kind because, we have to be very honest. Also the price, it's very good. And people today, they don't have too much money. My generation, 30, 35, 40, 45, they don't have too much money to spend. So they're willing to say, no, okay, I will drink less, but I want to drink better.
Yeah. And this is $35.
$35.
Yeah.
Which I think is,
I'd drink 30.
yeah, that's a
I'd drink this for
$35 wine,
$35.
easily.
Do we want to talk about the wine a bit before we go a bit more on the big picture stuff? Because I've got stuff to say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, aging
Well,
and look at the color.
Well,
so
yeah,
the color
that's
is
the first thing I
bright
noticed.
ruby color.
Like this thing is even lighter than the regular Valpolicella.
Correct.
But it's a dark red.
It is. It's a very pretty red. Like
Yes,
this
it is.
This is ruby red. Like it's a very pretty. I want to say it smells kind of. It's got some Pinot nuances to it.
Do you know what happened when people do blind tasting? They think it's a Pinot Nero.
Really?
No one can say this is a Valpolicella, and this is what I think is amazing.
I wouldn't guess this is a Valpolicella, but I would guess Gamay over Pinot.
I get a little bit of earthiness to it, a little more minerality than I would get out of Gamay. Although there is a lovely fruit seam that runs right through this.
There is something herbaceous on the nose. Like there's some pyrazine in it, but it's ripe and well integrated. On the palate, though, it tastes like candy. Like it tastes like red licorice.
Yeah, there is that kind of note, but it's not sweet. Like I didn't catch the
12.2% alcohol.
Yep,
It
12.5.
says 13 on the label, but obviously we can go down a percentage.
Yep.
And
actually, concrete vats, again, 6 to 9 months as aging.
Yeah,
And
it's nice. Like
bottom-
there's nothing getting in the way of the fruit flavors
pure
on
fruit.
this.
And the
Bottle moderation, 6 months.
the vine age is 20 years, so you got some good age on those vines.
And whole cluster fermentation.
So actually, it's few days, like 5 days fermentation. That's it.
Okay, but
But-
do
Is
you
it-
destem the fruit? Or is
Yeah,
it the
yeah,
whole
yeah.
cluster?
Okay,
Desteming.
so
yeah,
destemmed, okay.
yeah.
So it's I really like this wine.
Me too.
I really just think it's got something to it.
Elegant overtones, white pepper. You can feel that.
And is the market responding to this cruise system? Like,
All the word. Yeah, we don't really sell this wine everywhere. I mean, because we don't have the bottles, simply because of that. So we select actually on our locations, the markets where we want to be, the markets that are actually more interested in this kind of trends. So of course you have US, but you also have Canada. You also have North Europe. You also have Europe. You also have Japan. You also have Asia. Because you can pair with this wine, actually. That is the thing that we are changing. With this Miniere, think about it. You can even pair sushi. You can pair salmon.
I can see the salmon going.
It's what we are working on is to give the maximum of the drinkability and the possibility to pair with a bottle of wine.
well, it comes down to acidity, right? And it's a story
What?
I keep.
What was that again?
It comes down to acidity, but I mean, it is something I do think that as wine marketers, people do need to start challenging and pushing up on the notion of pairings, right? And having high acid in wines, you and I we've been probably guilty of saying like it'll pair with just about anything because it has high acid. And I think it's kind of coming full circle on this, is that's more true than we realize. Because I made a wine list for an Indian restaurant in Toronto, and went over the wines with the owner. The owner picked a nice Riesling, a nice Gewürztraminer, something that, I think traditionally we would say would go with that type of food. But when I would go into the restaurant, the Indian clientele were drinking ripasso with their curries. And those people are not wrong if that's what they think pairs with the food. And having great, like, full flavor red wines with high acid and lower alcohol, I think it's just going to make it easier to go with what you and I might not consider to be a traditional pairing.
Well, you said that your friends like the Miniere.
Yeah, they love it.
Okay. If you decide not to bring that one and instead you bring the
Valpolicella too, the
are they
Valpontena one.
like okay with that as well? Or
Yeah,
do they recognize that you've just brought over the cheaper bottle and you're...
Not really.
Okay.
It's completely different style. They understand that it comes from two different plots. And then we are starting to explain to people this, because you think that everybody knows about it, but actually it's not. People, even in Italy, they don't know what is the difference between Valpolicella Classica and Valpolicella Valpontena.
What is the difference?
It's two different places.
Okay.
So basically you have Valpolicella Classica, where we produce our Miniere. Then you have like a hill, let's put it that way, that goes to the other city of where Bertani is located, which is Grezzana, and which is the earth of Valpontena. So Valpontena has a more Mediterranean climate, whether the Valpolicella Classico has a different climate. So, you are just having a hill in the middle, and you have two different climate, and you have two different kind of wind coming in, and you have two different kind of soil. So people, if you let them think about it, they will think about it. But if you never tell them to think about it, what they are tasting and the sensation and the perfumes and everything, they will not get it because they're just used to drink, okay, that's a Valpolicella. So it's our fault that we didn't explain well how big is the potential of the Valpolicella. So now we have to do this job.
So, like, Valpolicella has always just talked about the three levels in the reds.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go with that. So Amarone, Ripasso, Valpolicella. So now we're starting back at the bottom, and we're now talking about cru in the
Valpolicella.
base wine. Let's call it the base wine. So where do you go from there? Like, can you do the same thing with Ripasso? Can you do the same thing with Amarone? Or do we stick with the base wine and just branch out even more vineyards, more places, to rose even?
So actually, we already do that. For example, we produce Catullo Ripasso in the area of our Tenuta Nova estates, and then we produce Ripasso Valpontena region. So we already do that in our portfolio. It's our way of segmentation. We've been always segmenting our portfolio.
Okay. All right. Well, little did I know. That was not explained to me when I was there many years ago.
So even you could learn something.
Look at
But
me.
that's why we're waiting for you to come back, because the company has changed a lot. New hospitality. So we are inviting everyone to come and see, because that's the way you do, right? You have to talk to the final consumer. You have to talk to the journalists. You have to talk to the bloggers. You have to talk to influencers. You have to talk to everyone.
So you have two cru Valpolicella.
Correct.
Is there plans to go further than just two?
No. We want first to sediment the concept of these two cru, and then we might explore more. But we need time. We cannot overwhelm people with information and then do another wine and then another wine. No, we wanted to sediment, explain, let the people understand the value of the wine. And then, of course, we will be moving. We already have projects always for other wines. Maybe we will even come out with a sparkle.
So the Miniere is unoaked.
Correct.
The Oggi Santi is oaked.
Correct.
Would you also do the other way? Would you put a little bit of Miniere in oak?
No.
And no. And is there a reason for that?
You've experimented
The
with
style.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just doesn't take two, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we wanted to have two different kind of
Two
concepts.
different, completely interesting. Yeah. So I think it'd be interesting, and of course that's just the geeky wine writer in me who would like to try an oaked versus an unoaked of both styles of wine to see which is better. But obviously somebody's already done that at the winery, and they said, yeah, Miniere does not take to oak well. Is that what happened?
Yeah, we didn't want. We want to have two completely different style of Valpolicella. So the Ognissanti has wood, so more, and actually the grape variety is different. It's 90%, 95% Corvina Veronese and 5% Rondinella. Whether Miniere, it's 70% Corvina Veronese, 20% Corvinone, 10% Rondinella. So even the blend is different because the area is different. Where we pick in the grapes is different.
So what is the soil makeup of Valpolicella? For the most part.
Too many different.
Oh, okay.
Because you have, if you even think about just our area where we are, you will have red, then you will have clay, then you will have reddish clay. So different. You have calcareous.
All right.
You have to come and
which other
see.
region has those exact types
Correct.
of soils,
So I was
right?
just
Sounds like Niagara.
I was just trying to see if it's something, but it's obviously a part of the Italian soil makeup of the area that just brings that to the wine. I find this very fascinating that Valpolicella, being that it is such a simplistic, and I hate to keep saying that, but like look, in its historical nature, it has been the pizza, pasta, burgers, wine of Italy. People ask me what are great red wines to start to learn about red wine. If you're a white wine drinker, Valpolicella is always on the list because it's simple, it's easy. Beaujolais is always on that list as well, right? You think of the very simple wines that make the crossover from white to red.
Well, it's exactly like you said, Serena, is that the younger generation doesn't have a ton of disposable income, and you and I have covered what's happened in Bordeaux extensively. Is these sought after bottles are so far out of reach that I don't even think they're part of the thought process. And the interesting thing about the younger generation is they're looking for the unique experience, the underdog, the overlooked thing. I'm kind of case in point with that, falling in love with Vino Verde, right? Yeah. I think it's just very exciting, the whole idea that, premiumization is taking place across the wine industry as a whole. And I think it comes back to, if I was the owner of Yellowtail right now and I haven't started premiumizing, and I don't think they have, I'd be very concerned if I was an investor in a large brand like that. Sorry
to say, but first you need to earn vineyard. Then you can make the difference.
There you go.
So we have talked about it a few times on the podcast, and now we get away from Valpolicella. Are you also seeing an uptick in your white wine sales as well as your premium red wine sales? Yeah,
we're going very well with the wines. Actually, the market is requesting white wines. It's coming back even to Soave. Whether before people were not thinking. We also produce two different Soave. So we have our historical Soave vintage, Classico. We call it vintage because it's the oldest one. You have to think in that in the 1937, our Soave vintage was served during the coronation of George VI, King of England.
So is there going to be a ramp up of more white wines produced?
Definitely. We will produce more wines for sure in the future. People are requesting it. Rosé is not really peaking out very fast, but white, yes.
So how do you manage your real estate then? You pull out red vines and plant more white, or
we buy?
Okay.
Yeah. For example, we just bought another piece of in the Soave area, so we're implementing also the Soave area.
Is there enough white planted to meet the demand in the region?
Yeah. Okay. It's definitely we have space.
So when I was, now we're going to get off this for a moment, and I'm again going to go back to when I was last in Veneto, which was it's got to be 10 years now. So that means
time to go back.
Really have to go back. Maybe that's the trip for the winter. Andre, you with me?
Oh, in a heartbeat.
Okay. So when I was there, the biggest, I think the controversy, because I was there for an anteprima, the controversy was one of the Italian journalists stood up and he said that the problem with Valpolicella these days is they are looking for the quick dollar. And they were, shunning Valpolicella to the side for Ripasso and Amarone. And that's why I asked you when we started, are you now making more Valpolicella than Ripasso and Amarone? And is that something that's Bertani, but is that across the board, or is there still that
Ripasso is more the volume driven all over the area still. Valpolicella is on the way.
It is. So people are starting to look back at Valpolicella.
Yeah.
And okay.
Yes.
So that's good, because I found that to be one very disheartening while I was there, because I love Valpolicella. I think it's one of those wines that it's as I said earlier, it's one of those entry level. It's the gateway wine to reds. And if you are, shunning it for, the dollars that Ripasso will make you, that Amarone will make you, and, shucking all your cheap grapes and not paying attention to the quality that could be in Valpolicella, you're ruining that level of wine, and people, will turn to, natural and skin fermented whites and oh, sorry.
No, well, I mean, like I said, like the premiumization that's taking place globally is something that's very interesting, and I think like Chianti's done a very good job reinventing itself with the Black Rooster on the Chianti Classico, making sure that consumers can easily distinguish it from, the fiascos that you picture in your head from the past. And I think even now, when you go to Italy and you take a look at the number of Chianti Classicos they have on the shelf, like an average consumer now associates Chianti with quality, where maybe in the past it wasn't true. So I'm not sure where Valpolicella is. As I said, Italy being a weak point of my knowledge, but I know that after this interview, I'm certainly going to be excited to grab a Bertani wine off the shelf. Like I don't think we can overstate just how good the Miniere is for $36. Like it's a perfect light wine. I'm not giving it a perfect score, but like it's a perfect light wine where there's so much density in the flavors, but it's light and crisp on the finish.
Yeah. So I guess what we're saying is that there is also a premiumization on entry-level wines as well.
It has to
we
happen.
Must be.
It
we
has
must
to happen.
do. No, that is actually also the focus of Italian wineries overall, if I can say. Even my friends all over Italy, all of us, we are working on premiumization. But it's not only the word premiumization. When we say that, is that because we have to divide ourselves, producers, we have to be different from bottlers.
And it has to be genuine too.
And it has to be genuine too. Yes, exactly. Everyone does his job, because I'm not talking badly about bottlers. I'm not talking bad about them. They do their job, but we do our job. So we have to explain to people that, owning a vineyard is a very high cost today. So we own vineyards. All the Angelini wines in the States were actually wineries across all Italy, because we are a group of wineries. We own 7 different wineries from to the north to the central of Italy. We own more than 450 hectares of vineyards. And that is it's a decision. It's explaining. We strive for quality. We want to elevate territories. We want to explain territories to the final consumer.
And I think there's so much potential, like now with the Parker era coming to an end, we're seeing more regionality to the palates. We're seeing regional wine writers, and there's just so much potential for little regions that were overlooked to shine, and it's exciting.
It is. I think the way that people have moved away from, especially in Italy and other places, away from oak, is also really interesting.
Thank you very much for the time and I guess thanks to you, Michael, for teaching me a little, and Serena, both of you, for teaching me about Valpolicella and these exciting, very affordable wines.
So where can people find Bertani on Instagram, obviously? And
definitely, we are on Instagram, we're on Facebook. You can find us with all our stories and our new trends and our new way of rethinking Bertani in Instagram. Follow us, have a look at that. Of course, we have writers, bloggers, and everything, but You can find everything on Instagram updated to what we're doing.
Perfect. Serena, I'd like to thank you very much for coming to Toronto just for us.
It's a pleasure.
We now allow you to get on with your Sunday and whatever else you're going to be doing while you're in Toronto. Again, thank you for giving us your time, letting us try these fabulous wines. Andre, you want to say
I'm
anything?
Andre Prue at Andre Wine Review.
Do you know where you are?
No.
Okay.
It's too early in the morning on a Sunday.
So I guess it's up to me to mention Patreon.
Oh, yeah, patreon.com/2guys/talking wine.
2 Guys Talking Wine. That's with a 2.
If you want to hear some of the uncut, raw interviews that Michael and hopefully I have been up to, we've been doing this a while. It's behind a paywall now.
Yeah, so
we're asking $2 a month. That's not a lot.
To get them there, you need $5 a month.
Whatever, $5 a month is not a lot.
No, it's not.
It's $60 a year.
$60 to listen to premium content like this.
So I wait for all of you at Bertani, if I can say that.
Oh, absolutely.
Please, everyone, welcome to Verona, and we will be very happy to host everyone at Bertani. So please come down.
And that's also for $5 a month. No, yeah, I wish. I'm Michael Pincus of michaelpincuswinereview.com. You can find me on social media as The Grape Guy mostly. Again, thank you, Serena. Thank you to Profile for bringing Serena here. Andre, thank you for driving into Toronto and lugging all the equipment.
Oh, I hate driving into the city.
Good morning. No. Good night.
Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to Two Guys Talking Wine on iTunes.
Two Guys Talking Wine is produced by Adam Duran and Ken Little.